Good evening, and happy Mother's Day at 6 o'clock, and we're going to get our Jazz Vespers service and art. We get it started, and thank you for coming. I was hoping we'd have a few more people for Mother's Day, but it's not, we haven't started yet. You never know. So we will start by having my Yvette come up and read the scripture.
Happy Mother's Day. Now, I don't know if this scripture is going to fit, but it fits the times. And so I'm reading from 2 Timothy, chapter 3, 1 through 5. But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty. For people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness, but denying its power. Avoid such people. Thank you.
I too will say Happy Mother's Day to all the moms here, and thank you for the dads that came and brought the moms. At any rate, it is our great pleasure tonight to have this very fine artist visiting us tonight, whom I did not know before. A couple in our church happened to have seen his work and recommended him and said he's wonderful. I said, okay, let me check his website. And what I saw there was so fantastic. I said, absolutely. So I can't tell you a whole lot about him, except that when you look at the work, what do you need to say about him? He's just fantastic. I'll let him tell you a little bit about his background. I introduce to you Miles Lewis.
Hi, everybody. Hey. So I guess I can say a few points of biography. So I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and I live in Woodland Hills. I went to Cal State Northridge, Pierce College and Cal State Northridge for university, and was in New York for a little bit and studied out here as well. And in addition to drawing and painting as a fine artist, which I do, consistently day to day, I also work as a professional portraitist and have been an art educator, teaching all ages, really, and hosting classes since I was a teenager. So just as a point of neighborhood solidarity, if there's anybody who's interested in life drawing or different kinds of arts and crafts workshops, I host them in Woodland Hills at the Valley Art Workshop, so feel free to ask me about that. I work with a group called 1111, a creative collective that some of you might have heard of. They put on Reseda Rising as well, which is a big community art fair that happens on Sherman Way. The street is closed down by Bob Blumenfeld's office, and it's put to that use. So I work in arts organizing. I'm very dedicated to the Valley, really raising the standard for arts education. I'd really like to see a museum out here, maybe like a LACMA satellite. So we work on a lot of sort of cultural development in the Valley as 1111, a creative collective. So feel free to ask me about that too, and I can give you all that information. And then I also am very devoted to environmental causes. So my feeling is that if we are going to produce beautiful things, we should be conserving beautiful things too. And that the best that we can hope for, I guess, human society in the 21st century is one that prioritizes human creativity and our relationship to the environment. And if we're able to do that, we've made a success of it. So I work a lot around that, especially educationally, since that's my background. So some of the paintings out there, you'll see that they're not very literal. They have a kind of surrealist bent, but they often do start in a fairly clear place. So if any of you are interested, I'm sure you'll ask me questions afterwards. And I also have a small collection of sketches. I produced many more and could have brought many more, but I have a small collection of sketches that I have there, and I'm just going to be selling them for $75 or $100, and all the proceeds would go towards arts programming in the valley. So this is sort of, you can imagine it as being arts programming for the general community and for kids especially. So feel free to ask me about that and look through those. I'll be there to assist you. So I guess that's it. That's me. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Miles. Please, and after the show, you please spend more time talking to Miles out there. He can tell you more about his artwork. Tonight we have Doug MacDonald, a good friend, and we've been friends for ages. Ricky Woodard, who is first call on everything. He's played with everybody in the world. I don't know, is he working tonight? He's probably, where is he? Well, anyway. No, he'll be here. Doug brought two new members. I don't know the drummer, and we have a sub on the bass. Gary is not here, but Dan Pugh would be playing organ tonight.
Sure. We have Dan Pugh on the organ tonight, and Ben Scholes on the drums, and of course Ricky and myself. And I want to thank everybody for coming, and nice to have you come out and listen to live jazz. You know, it's not something you can find too much of anymore. And we're going to start off with a little tune called Lester Leaps In, done by Lester Young many years ago. And thank you, Lanny, for having us here. Make sure I'm still in tune. That's kind of an important thing. It's hanging in there. Not bad. All right. Ricky speaking. That's an inside joke. Yeah. Now he's a TV star. He was on the Motown review. It was very good. All right. Let's do rhythm changes. Let's I'm learning this microphone. You have to study it because it has its own like high-tech pause, and then it's what you call a computerized mic. No, not really, but almost. It's like you have to wait for it. What a band, what a church, what a song, what an arrangement. Well, Ricky and I made a few records for this guy, and we've got one coming up, I guess, in July. And in July, and this is a little tune called Bossa Don, written for one of our producers, a guy. This is a producer over here on the drums, too. He's a producer in his own right, Ben Scholes, yeah. He'll have to move to Muscle Shoals. Oh, never mind. Anyway, this is for Don Thompson, and it's called Bossa Don. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. That's once again for Don Thompson, Boss to Don. I'd like to do what you call sort of an old standard. It's from the big band era, but nobody remembers this tune. It was like a lot of big bands did it with some vocalists and stuff. And then Pat Boone had, I hate to say it because I met Pat a couple of times, he had a horrible version of this tune. I got to send it to you. The alto solo, you're not going to like it, I'm sorry. Maybe you will. Here's a thing called With the Wind and the Rain in Her Hair. Anybody heard of that song? No, right? You have. Oh my God, one guy. Great. The only guy in Northridge that knows that. We want to say we do have our CDs here. There's several. Ben's produced 2 of them, and Don's produced about 3. And we've got the very special Northridge sale. They're only $10. So anyway, moving straight ahead, here's With the Wind and the Rain in Her Hair. Well, it was a very very pretty melody, but for some reason it just never got known for some reason. Even though there was many recordings, I Googled one time and found all kinds of recordings, including Pat Boone, which we won't mention that anymore. Poor Pat. Anyway, we're going to feature Ricky. I believe this is a standard that I always love called My One and Only Love. Am I right? Polka Dots and Moonbeams. That's got some of the same notes in it. Yeah. Beautiful song. In fact, that was Jimmy Van Heusen, right? If I'm not mistaken. Do you remember? You think? And his name was Chester Babcock, and he was in his agent's office, and he looked across the street and took the name Van Heusen for good reason. And that was Sinatra's drinking buddy in the desert. Van Heusen and Frank were always drinking. So sorry to tell the church about that, but truth is truth. I know about it firsthand. I heard about it. Let's do a little jazz waltz. I was doing some noodling while Shane and Ben were taking pictures of our Organisms album, and I came up with this little waltz, and it means garden in Italian. So hopefully there's a garden close to here. This is called Hortense. We hope you enjoy the jazz waltz. Righty. Well, I don't know. I feel like playing a fast tune again. What the heck? Here's a little tune that John Coltrane has a piece called Impressions, and this is called Unimpressed. So we hope you're totally unimpressed. How about these guys? Ben Scholes on the drums, Ricky Woodard on the tenor, Dan Pugh on the Hammond organ. And that is a Hammond of all things. Okay, I will. Anything in particular? You have any requests? We'll put up a tip jar for you. Here's a medley that makes no sense. I'm going to start off with an old tune that the Four Freshmen, if everybody remembers that group, they did a song called It's a Blue World. So we'll see where we go from there. It's going to have a life of its own. It's a Blue World, followed by Gentle Rain by Louise Bonfa, and of course, I think Joe Beam wrote Triste, but whatever it is, that's what it is. So do we have time for one tune, or are we gone? One song. So we're going to call the band back. Got a band, get these guys back. Gotta wait for this thing. What an audience. Give yourselves a hand. Once again, Ricky Woodard, Dan Pugh, Ben Scholes, Yusri Doug MacDonald. Thank you, guys. What a great audience. And we have Lanny to tell you all about it. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me tell you something. I grew up with a Hammond organ in the dining room and a grand piano in the living room. And if my father had one like that, he had the big one, okay? So he would take it and put it on the truck and take it to the next gig, okay? He would have dreamed to have something like that. You sound so wonderful. Just thank you, Doug. Y'all were wonderful. You got to come back. I want to show you something. Miles did these drawings while they were playing. They are fantastic. Look at that. Do I get to keep them? Huh? I hope so. I'm going to make a very, very short homily as message. It's a letter to my mom. And I'm going to start with Ephesians chapter 6, 2-3. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on this earth. Dear Mom, Mama, or Mother, or Ruth, or Mommy, your name depends on the position of mother you're appropriating at the time, that particular time. Well, I still call out Mommy when things are going awry in my life and I need your guidance and comfort. I love you. And after talking to my 6 siblings, they all feel the same. We couldn't have made it in life if you weren't there. You were our gift from God. Yes, gift. We, of course, didn't realize it until we were much older and saw the magic you could bring to us in a blink of an eye. Mommy, you could heal our wounds, feed us our favorite foods, and scold us at the same time. We all agree that you were special and really smart. Daddy said you were smart. Now we really know it. I mean, you would help us with our homework, make our clothes, and manage money like a Wall Street tycoon. Do you know that none of us knew we were poor? Oh, and you brought music into our lives. Even though Dad was a jazz piano player and an organist, you were the one who kept the music going by playing your records on the hi-fi and singing. Woo! You would sing all the time. Loud, keep singing and singing. And by, we would laugh at your voice because you would always sing off key. And you would just go, mm-hmm. And you would sweetly ignore us and you would keep on singing. And I want to thank you for that because that kept the music going in our house at all times. We always had what we needed and wanted. How did you do that? Dad would work 3 or 4 jobs at a time and bring the money directly home to you. Mommy, she would give him some money to play with. He liked to play pool and have a few drinks or 2, and he loved ice cream. And then somehow you would make the money stretch until you received more. We always had extra mouths at our overloaded table. The kids in the neighborhood knew when you yelled our names out the door in the order of our birth that supper was on the table. I was a mommy's girl. I would follow you around the house until you would tell me to go outside and play. I love watching you work. I learned how to make slip covers for a couch, curtains for windows, and how to clean the floor with a toothbrush. Thank you very much. Clean and neat was your motto. You would always buy the best quality. It wasn't to show off. You said things made good last longer, not because of the name on the label. I remember when we moved from Dunleaf our first home, which was a 3-bedroom on one floor with lots of yard space to run around. And it happened, the government had made these communities for blacks right after the Korean War. There was a divide of open space between the white communities, which had 2-level houses behind our house, a great big ground place. And we would have wars with the white kids in the open space, mainly because we could, not because of racism. You see, at least that's what we figured. You just told us that they were no different and we should try to get along. Well, they said we lived in dumps. Well, we thought our homes were palaces, yes. You were always so forgiving and kind, so we didn't beat them up too much. But Lord, don't get on your wrong side. You draw the line when it came to someone lying or being envious and injustice. Anyone who stepped over those lines would hear from you. You never raised your voice, but you would tell them what for and where to go. Do you know, I asked my siblings too, did they ever hear you and Daddy argue? They said no. How did you do that? I mean, I know you had to have had arguments, but how did you keep the peace in our tiny house? We can't figure it out to this day. We siblings used to tussle all the time. When my oldest brother hit me in the face and knocked my glasses off, you told him that was it. He was too big to be hitting girls and never do it again in his lifetime. All right. Mama, you did spank us, though. In fact, you would make us go fetch the switch to be spanked with. If the switch wasn't the right length and breadth, you'd make us go right back out to find a better one to get whipped with. Like I said, if you stepped over the line, you got it from her. She spanked me a few times. Ruth, you taught me how to be a woman, and that a woman was more than just raising a bunch of kids, but a person who has hopes and dreams and goes for them. You taught me not to be afraid to change directions, and that sometimes things don't work out, but there is always another day. You taught me to keep my word and to finish. If you said you were going to do something, better do it or have a darn good reason why you didn't. I was so proud of you when you went back to school to get your GED while we were getting our high school diplomas. 23 years ago, your last major job you took on before you passed away from cancer was planning my wedding ceremony and a fabulous party. Boy, you threw a shindig, and I knew it was going to be at the country club where we weren't welcome when we were young. Oh, child. We had more people at that wedding. She had enough food for the whole Wilmington, Delaware. Oh, I swear, people kept coming to the party. They weren't even invited. And we also had a bell choir, and we had all of Lanny's family from Burlington, and she had enough food there. Somehow, she knew to have it. Oh, I knew it was going to be so wonderful, and I left it in your hands, and it was. It's one of the best things in my life. And she picked my husband for me, too. She heard Lanny play the piano, and she saw how he treated me, and she said, "That's the one." Guess what? He is. 23 years later. But because of you, I'm a darn good cook, and you taught me how to love a husband, and he doesn't know the benefits he's gotten from all of your teaching. I advanced in my career, and I'm a good and trusted wife. Yes, a wife. Over 50% of marriages fail. She told me, you told me, it takes work, honesty, and most of all, love to keep a relationship going. And being a good cook doesn't hurt, right? He hasn't gained too much weight. Mama, this letter is from all of your babies who are all doing fine and having babies of their own. Thank you for being a great mother and being there for all of us. We love you. Thank you. Well, this has been a wonderful evening. Doug, I want to thank you so very much for playing for us. You are wonderful. And the organists, thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Now, there's a free will basket out there, and we're run by offerings, by you just putting some nice money in that basket. And that's how the jazz is played here, and keep coming and keep going. And go out there and look at that. And also, there's some records for Doug that's sitting out there. And the artists, please spend time with Miles and talk to him. Look at his work and find out where he's going to be showing at the next gig. And talk to Doug to find out what his next gig is and where. And before we go, I want to thank everybody that's on this program. Adrian and Dusty and Barbara's. I saw Barbara up there, and Barbara Nathanson's. Thank you, and West. It takes all of us to pull this together, and it's because we love jazz. And Larry Flaherty, thank you so very, very much. And who am I? I'm not forgetting anybody, am I? And our Reverend Choi, where are you? I know you're out there somewhere. He's probably looking at it on the, what do you call it, internet, that thing. Oh, if you have Facebook, check out our Facebook page. If you have internet, there's a thing there to, little green thing, sign your internet address if you want to know when the next one is. And the next one will be Lolly Allen. She plays the vibes. Oh, this girl can play some vibes. I'm serious, vibes. Okay, and that's going to be on June the 9th. So let us all stand and do the benediction, and it's on the second page, and you all know it because you did it in Sunday school or camp. Yeah. Did I forget anything, Lanny? That's it. Okay. May the Lord watch between you and me while we are absent one from another. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for listening to this wonderful, wonderful music.